One job on this list can pay experienced workers around £100,000 a year. Another can reach £80,000 without following the traditional office career route. And one involves sitting hundreds of feet above the ground, knowing that a small mistake could send several tons of machinery in the wrong direction. But none of these salaries is free money. The employer is paying because the job demands something most people are unwilling or unable to give. It might be months away from home, rotating night shifts, dangerous environments, years of specialized training, or the pressure of knowing that one bad decision could cost lives. Today, we're breaking down 7 high-paying jobs that many people would never seriously consider. What they actually involve, how you get into them, and the hidden price behind the salary. The pay figures are mainly British benchmarks, but these careers exist around the world. And as always, the question is not simply, what does it pay? The real question is, what are they paying you to tolerate? From the ground, a tower crane looks almost peaceful, a small cabin floating above the city. But now imagine climbing into that cabin before sunrise, sitting hundreds of feet in the air and moving loads that may weigh several tons over buildings, workers, and busy streets. In Britain, crane drivers can earn roughly £25,000 as beginners and around £52,000 with experience. Skills England places the median salary for a tower crane lifting technician at just over £44,000. The route normally involves specialist training, practical experience, and the relevant plant operator competency card. You do not necessarily need a university degree. You do need patience, coordination, excellent spatial awareness, and the ability to concentrate when the work becomes repetitive. The final part is important. The danger is not always dramatic movement. Sometimes it's boredom. You may spend hours performing careful, controlled lifts while wind, visibility, and radio instructions constantly change around you. You're working alone in a confined cabin, often in poor weather, with no room for casual mistakes. The salary is not simply for operating a crane, it's for remaining precise after the task has stopped feeling exciting. Most people step into a lift without thinking about the cables, motors, brakes, doors, and control systems moving them through a building. Someone has to install all of it, and when it stops working inside a hospital, block of flats, or a busy station, someone has to fix it. UK lift engineers typically earn between £22,000 and £45,000, with experienced engineers potentially increasing their income through overtime, emergency call-outs, and specialist responsibility. The usual entry route is an apprenticeship or technical training program. That makes it one of the most accessible specialist careers on this list. But the clean lift cabin hides a much dirtier job. Engineers may work inside shafts, machine rooms, and cramped spaces. They deal with heavy components, electrical systems, greasy machinery, and equipment that can cause serious harm if not isolated correctly. The schedule can also become unpredictable. A lift carrying residents in a high-rise building cannot always remain broken until Monday morning. You may be called during the evening, at weekends, or on bank holidays. This job pays because it combines electrical knowledge, mechanical skill, physical work, and urgent responsibility. You're not being paid for pressing buttons. You're being paid because everybody else expects the button to work. Now leave the city completely. Imagine flying by helicopter to a platform in the middle of the sea, working long shifts surrounded by heavy machinery, and then sleeping in the same isolated workspace. Offshore drilling workers in Britain can earn around £30,000 at entry level and up to approximately £60,000 with experience. Similar roles exist in the North Sea, the Gulf, the United States, Australia, West Africa, and other energy-producing regions. Entry routes include engineering or construction courses, apprenticeships, or moving up from jobs such as roustabout or derrick hand. The attraction's obvious: decent money, long blocks of time away followed by blocks at home, and a route that doesn't always require a degree. The cost is everything surrounding the job. You may work nights, weekends, and public holidays. You're away from your family, the weather can be severe, and offshore employees may face noise, vibration, extreme temperatures, hazardous substances, and physically demanding work. Even when your shift finishes, you don't go home. You're still on the platform, and that is the real bargain. The company is not only buying your labor. For part of the year, it's buying your location, your routine, and your separation from ordinary life. Commercial diving is not swimming beside tropical fish with a camera. You may inspect bridge supports, repair harbor structures, work around underwater cables, clean industrial equipment, or survey offshore pipelines and wind installations. The UK National Careers Service lists commercial diver earnings as variable because this is often project-based work rather than a predictable annual salary. And that's an important warning. The spectacular day rates people advertise online are normally associated with experienced, specialist, or offshore divers, not somebody who has just completed a course. To work commercially in Britain, you need the correct professional diving qualification, medical clearance, and role-specific training, and the environment changes everything. A simple repair on land can become extremely difficult when you have a limited visibility, cold water, heavy equipment, and restricted communication. The Health and Safety Executive classifies diving as high-hazard activity and identifies risks including decompression illness and other acute or long-term medical conditions. This is also a career where income may be inconsistent. You can spend heavily on training and still need years to build contacts, experience, and specialist tickets. So yes, the top end can pay extremely well, but it's not a shortcut. The money exists because a skilled trade becomes rarer, slower, and more dangerous the moment you take it underwater. Almost everything you own has probably spent part of its life on a ship, but somebody has to keep that ship operating thousands of miles from the nearest repair garage. Merchant Navy engineering officers maintain the engines, electrical equipment, fuel systems, and mechanical machinery on board cargo ships, passenger vessels, and specialist marine operations. In Britain, salaries typically run from around £30,000 for starters to approximately £80,000 for experienced officers. You can enter through a sponsored cadetship, apprenticeship, or maritime engineering course. Some programs combine classroom learning with time at sea, and sponsorship can reduce the financial barrier compared with funding an ordinary degree alone. The obvious sacrifice is time. You may spend weeks or months away from home. Birthdays, relationships, and ordinary routines continue without you. And when equipment fails, you can't simply wait for an engineer to arrive from the local depot because you're the engineer. The industry also takes fatigue seriously because seafarers may work watches at unusual hours while constantly adjusting to operational demands. International maritime rules require minimum rest arrangements precisely because tiredness at sea can become a safety issue. The role pays well because it combines engineering skill with isolation. The machinery is valuable and the ship cannot stop, and home may be several thousand miles away. After an aircraft accident, most people want to move away from the wreckage. An air accident investigator moves towards it. In Britain, air accident investigators are listed at approximately £75,000 to £100,000 a year. Similar government investigation bodies operate across the world, but this is not an entry-level job you apply for straight out of university, because investigators usually arrive after substantial careers as pilots, aircraft engineers, operations specialists, or experts in flight data and aviation systems. The work can involve examining damaged components, interviewing witnesses, analyzing cockpit and radar recordings, reconstructing events, and deciding what caused a highly complex system to fail. The British Air Accidents Investigation Branch may send investigators to incidents across the UK or overseas, sometimes in remote terrain and difficult conditions. The emotional cost is obvious. You're dealing with events in which people may have been seriously injured or killed. You must remain objective around wreckage, grief, and intense public attention. And your conclusion can't merely sound convincing. It may influence aircraft design, airline procedures, and safety rules across an entire industry. This salary pays for expertise, but also for judgment. You must be technically precise while working inside the aftermath of somebody else's worst day. An air traffic controller may spend a shift looking at screens and speaking into a headset, but every symbol on that screen represents an aircraft carrying real people through a shared airspace. In Britain, trainee and early career salaries start around £48,000, while experienced controllers can earn approximately £100,000, and senior controllers at larger airports may exceed the 100k. The route is usually through a trainee program or an apprenticeship. You don't necessarily need a traditional 4-year degree, but the selection process is extremely demanding because academic qualifications alone don't prove that you can handle the work. Controllers need rapid decision making, spatial awareness, clear communication, and the ability to maintain concentration under pressure. Airports operate through nights, weekends, holidays, so shift work is part of the deal. The job is also unusual because success looks like nothing happening. Thousands of safe instructions disappear into an ordinary day. One serious error does not. You may work indoors, you may never lift heavy machinery, but your attention can't casually drift in the way can during an ordinary office task. Air traffic controllers are not paid simply to watch aircraft. They're paid to keep several moving problems from becoming one permanent disaster. So what connects all 7 careers? It's not just danger, it's scarcity combined with a condition most people would reject. That is the hidden rule behind unusual salaries. Companies don't pay more because a job sounds impressive. They pay more when capable people are difficult to find, difficult to train, or difficult to keep under those conditions. So before choosing a career because the number looks attractive, ask, what exactly am I being paid to tolerate? Because the best paying job is not automatically the best job. The best opportunity is one where the sacrifice feels unbearable to most people, but remains sustainable for you. Tell me in the comments which of these 7 you would genuinely consider and which one you would refuse, regardless of the salary. And subscribe to Paygrade, because we don't just tell you what jobs pay, we explain why.